Hello and welcome everyone to the annual general meeting of the Watt Club. I'm very excited to welcome fellow alumni from around the world to the call today. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you may be on this lovely planet. My name is Kieran Robson-Renner. I'm a 2018 graduate from our Edinburgh campus, and I'm currently the president of the Watt Club. So today we'll be taking a look back at the achievements of the Watt Club, as well as giving a look forward into 2025. In a few moments, after a short video presentation, I'll be handing over to Professor Richard Williams, CBE, Principal and Vice-Chancellor of the University, to open today's meeting officially, giving his reflection on the year and what is to come. We'll then have a keynote from our Professor Alex MacLaren, Executive Dean for Education and Student Life in our School of Energy, Geoscience, Infrastructure and Society, on transition education, before myself and Watt Club Vice President Axel Klafstad to give our reflections on 2024. There will be time throughout today's meeting to field a small number of questions, so please do use the Q&A function down the side of your screen, and we'll pick them up as we move through at each step of the meeting. Any that we don't have time to answer today, we will circulate responses to at the end of the meeting. So please sit back, relax, enjoy this short video, and you'll see me again after the video presentation.
Well, Kieran, thank you very much for that video. It's good to be here. Actually, seeing that really brought tingles to my face, just the amazing amount of work and celebration the Watt Club has been doing over the last year. So, congratulations. It was really great to see that. And hello to everybody. I'm delighted to be joining tonight. And it's my pleasure to say a little bit about some of the great things that have been going on in our university over the last year. So I didn't know where to start, but I thought I would start by saying a little bit about Sir Jeff Palmer, our Chancellor, loved by so many, because one of the highlights of this last year is when he was admitted actually to the highest order of chivalry that it is possible to get as the Knight of Order of the Thistle, and he received that award and is one of only 16 people who can hold that position. Incidentally, the other person holding it is a former Chancellor, Lord Mackay. So it's great that we've got two Heriot-Watt Chancellors who are Knights of the Order of the Thistle. Wow. So other things that have been going on with representation in different places. I was really pleased to welcome Dr. Nicole David as the new Pro-Chancellor in Malaysia, and because she is one of Malaysia's most celebrated sportswomen, and are looking forward to seeing her perhaps round at different campuses in the coming year. One of the things that happened at the turn of the year last year, which many of you, of course, will know about, was the opening of our campus in Dubai. It's the third campus that we've been in, and this is a brand new campus completed a couple of years ago, but opened in December by the King, along with the First Minister and Lord Cameron. What an incredible day that was. And I think that signified an amazing milestone for the university. And not least something to watch out for in the year ahead, because recently we decided to expand the Dubai campus, approximately 35% additional floor space, and we're looking forward to opening the extension, as it were, to our building this year. And it's 20 years this year that we've been in UAE. 20 years. We're the largest independent university in UAE. Isn't that fantastic? So one thing that, of course, has played on our hearts this year was the devastating loss of our Deputy Chair of Court and precious alumni, Cameron Miller. And we'll be honouring the anniversary of his passing at the university in Edinburgh early next month. Well, amidst all the geopolitical chaos and the world disruption and the terrible wars that have been going on, and financial constraints in some areas, in fact, despite all of these things, the impact of our university working together actually has never been greater. And thank you for your support as alumni, and thank you also for your work in the development of the regional Watt clubs. It's really much valued and such an important part of our advocacy and our outreach. I've been fortunate to spend some time in different places in this last year. I've met our alumni, or not all of them, but some of our alumni in the USA and in Norway and in China and Malaysia and South Africa, as you saw from some of the slides. And it was really great to meet those people, and really great to meet people from the Watt Club in those regions. I was also delighted to welcome one of our newest honorary doctorates in Hakainde Hichilema, the President of Zambia. And the President and Mrs. President came to Edinburgh to receive their honorary degree, and we had a great day of celebration and great reflection on Zambia, and in particular the Zambian Watt Club. So a real celebration, and really great to see that coming forward as a nomination from that Watt Club. They'd nominated the president for his amazing work in education. Well, over the last year, you may have been keeping an eye out, and we've been assured in enriching the value of the university and its reputation. We've maintained our position in the 250s in the QS World Ranking Table. We've managed to achieve our strategy target in getting over £65 million worth of new research grants announced within a year, which was fantastic. We've been successful in participating in over 10% of the UK's doctoral training centres, which bodes very well for the future and is truly unprecedented. And we've had amazing continued success in the employment of our graduates, first in Scotland for graduate employment and fourth in the whole of the UK, and related similar accolades in Malaysia as well. So it's been a really good time for celebration. And as many of you know, the fact is that we continue to hold a very strong reputation for our graduates who are leaders. And once again, Heriot-Watt has been shown to be the university in Scotland that produces the most CEOs, which is amazing when you consider our size. So 2 surveys in the last 5 years have confirmed that. So it's absolutely fantastic. So in October this year, that we're referring to in our review, October 2024, we launched our Shaping Futures campaign. This is something that we've been working up for a number of years. The opportunity to go out to friends and family and to describe how we want to move the university forward. And I'm sure you'll be learning more about our Shaping Futures campaign. But in essence, we're trying to raise resource to undertake around £80 million worth of projects. And those projects are focused on specific areas. You'll be hearing later actually about some of the sort of project work we are able to do with students internationally in empowering through education, which is one of the themes. Another theme is around driving sustainability, which will also very much pick up in the example that we'll see later. Also, transforming healthcare. And finally, how we innovate with business and industry. So those are our 4 themes of our Shaping Futures campaign, and we'll provide a link in the chat so you can have a look at that in some further detail. So may I thank you for your advocacy and support, and I believe that by working together we are approaching a real pivotal time for the university to take us forward, as we have done in different times in our past. I do believe this is one of those times when we're going to really advance the university most significantly. So might I wish you, of course, a happy new year. Might I wish you also a happy lunar new year, and might I wish you also a happy Global Watt Day, which is coming up on the 19th of this month. And to celebrate that, please look out for a new series of podcasts called Shaping Futures, when you will hear different members of the university talk about the future and how Heriot-Watt wants to shape the future. So look out for those podcasts and do share them with your friends and connections, because it's an amazing thing that we're able to do in influencing and having impact in the world through our education and through our research. So once again, thank you for your participation. Thank you for your advocacy, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of the AGM.
Thank you very much, Professor Williams, not just for your welcome, but your unwavering support for the Watt Club and our global alumni community. Rather than asking you to take any questions now, if anyone has any, I will ask that those are left in the Q&A box just now. We'll field them after the following presentation. I'd like to welcome Professor Alex MacLaren to give our keynote presentation on transition education. Very much a passion project of hers and something that does make Heriot-Watt truly special. Over to you, Alex.
Thank you, Kieran. Brilliant. And thank you, everybody, for the invitation to be here today, because Kieran is right. This is my favourite thing to talk about ever. And I'm very excited to be at Heriot-Watt and have the opportunity to provide the sorts of experiences to students and working with industry that we are able to do here. The global links that we have and the research links that we have provided something which I think is really quite extraordinary. I'm going to keep saying next slide every so often, so please delete that piece from your brain as I continue to talk. What I'd like to speak about is transition education. And next slide, please. That will be mainly through introducing you to 2 specific topics that specific projects that I've been involved with. These are engagements across campus, also across our various different research areas, including the iNet Zero GRI. Of course, that is part of our drive sustainability. And then linking us back to what we can do, in fact, ourselves with our global campuses and the opportunities that we have to engage with our communities around the campus and promote that really exciting educational offering that we have and access to that offering. So next slide, please. The first project that I want to talk about in making it real is the Solar Decathlon Middle East project. And next slide, please. I think this should be familiar to many of the Watt Club members, because the Watt Club very, very generously was a massive supporter of this wonderful group of students that you see here on screen, who really grabbed hold with both hands of an exciting opportunity to create a solar powered house, to manufacture it really from the raw spruce trees that we have here in Scotland, to turn those into some solid laminated timber, to ship all of that across the world and to showcase that at Dubai World Expo. Now that was in 2021. This project keeps giving, and we have been working since then, before then, and since then in developing that educational offering. Next slide, please. Team Esteem was the name of the group of students and their project, their house, and you see an example of it here. And for those who aren't particularly familiar, my background and one of the slides that you've seen already is us putting that house that you see a illustration of here on screen, putting it together in the middle of the desert alongside 18 other international universities in a 2-week-long competition, 2 weeks to build and then 2 weeks to operate a solar powered house. Heriot-Watt University was the only UK entry. Next slide, please. And we performed wonderfully well, given the incredibly difficult circumstances of starting this project in 2018. And then, as we're all aware, the curveballs that the world threw at us in the form of the pandemic and others finally arriving on site, as you can see there, in 2021. This is a group of mostly undergraduate students, but also involving postgraduates and research students, wonderful links with industry throughout. And students from across all of the campuses actually were involved in this, including Orkney in Malaysia, the majority, of course, from the Edinburgh campus and our Dubai campus. So you can see from the kind of early stage brainstorming with a local partner here in Glasgow in the UK, all the way through to constructing our prototype, full-scale prototype in the yards here at our Edinburgh campus at Riccarton. That's the William Arrell building that you see there in the background. And then over to Dubai, where our Dubai students and 25 of our UK students were there in our high-vis vests, working in the extreme heat in the desert to put together this amazing building. Next slide, please. And I said it was engaged with research. You can see the 3D printed concrete on the left-hand side, which formed part of the wind catcher, part of our passive solar design. In this case, or a passive wind design, bringing down the cooler air from high level and taking that through the house to reduce our cooling loads. You can also see in the third image there the K-Brick, our innovation from the Edinburgh campus, which is a wonderful spin-out company, Kinetech, who are working on this incredibly low energy brick made from recycled materials. It's an absolute game changer in construction, and our students were able to not only learn about that, but showcase it at World Expo. On the far right there, students making a chair from our textiles and design group and making that chair out of offcuts from the wall building that we did of the house. So just really awesome stuff. Next slide, please. And what I get passionate about is the students having these experiences to work with their hands, to directly work with the materials that they're doing, to get together to make this happen, and also the engagements with industry, of course. But when I talk about these hands-on engagements, it's not only about the physical making and working. This group of students became an incredibly effective team in a commercial sense as well. They produced a brand, they produced a series of images and social media posts, etc., that became more and more effective, streamlined, slick. This was really, really top-class stuff. And I think for those of you who haven't seen it, I think the website will be popped up on screen and you can go and pick that up. We were working with students from the Mathematics and Computer Sciences School to produce a really intelligent website which responded to inputs from users and tracked data. we were working with students from the business school who put together social media campaigns for us and who developed different social media presences. So this isn't just a construction project at all. This is kind of across all of the disciplines. And that also relates to our industry partners as well. Next slide, please. This team grew to be over 150 students from across our different campuses and from across the different levels of study. And you can tell already I'm, hugely proud of them. Next slide, please. So all the way from crawling into under slab floor spaces, stacking the pieces of timber, which we had very carefully self-cut, self-laminated in this enormous factory in Hamilton near Glasgow, creating the insulated panels with groups of 6 or 7 of us working during the pandemic in the heat of summer, well, Scottish summer, not that hot, with face masks on to produce these, and all the way through to actually taking those to site in Dubai. So proud of the students and so proud of their sharing of this. This is a time when you can imagine everyone is at home. We all have these strict pandemic restrictions on us. And the traction that this group of students got and the learning, the education that they were able to share and pass out amongst the public was just really, really extraordinary. The beginnings of that were funded by the Watt Club, deciding to make them or give them funding to allow them to brand themselves, to get hoodies that gave them a sense of belonging. These small things actually begot such a valuable experience, not just for the students, but for a much, much wider group, hundreds of thousands of followers in the end on social media accounts. Next slide, please. It's not just about the students. This is one of the first pieces of Scottish laminated timber, cross-laminated timber, CLT. Normally we import this stuff from Canada or Germany or Austria. We're now making it ourselves in Scotland. And this is literally one of the first pieces which our students were involved in making. This is a whole new industry for Scotland. It's also very, very low carbon, of course, to create that in country. So really, really exciting stuff. Next slide, please. Links across the different global research institutes we have. So here you can see Spot, I think we call him, the Boston Robotics dog from the Robotarium, coming and helping the students with the setting out. Next slide, please. And that enabled us to have a digital model as well as a physical model. And so the digital and the physical were exploring at the same time. Our students in computer sciences were working in the digital and referring that back to the physical at all times. And I wouldn't say that we got to the point of a digital twin, more on that a bit later, but it was really, really exciting to see. Next slide, please. This is what the dog sees when you ask it to walk around, and our computer science students were working on editing out the exact position of each leaf of those trees and focusing in on exactly the positioning that we needed to know about for our project. Next slide, please. Our logistics teams, so the students studying business and logistics, were clearly very involved when we had to package up everything that we'd made in the UK into 5 different containers and export that over to Dubai. This was the moment when I learned that hemp insulation, which is one of the lowest carbon insulations we can get and is now manufactured here in the Borders. Our supplier is Indie Nature, a startup company, which is big news for Scotland. This was when I learned that importing hemp to the UAE requires you to sign a certificate saying that you are importing tons of cannabis. I was a little worried they wouldn't let me through, but it's just the way that the terminology is used in import-export regulations, and I was not stopped at the airport for any untoward reasons, fortunately. And next slide, please. Here we have the image that you see behind me. These are the 18 different universities, and you can see that ours is extraordinary in being of timber, the lowest carbon and most reusable and regenerative material that can be used. Other competitors were all working in concrete and in steel. So we were really providing something absolutely extraordinary at this World Expo, and it's a source of immense pride for me. I'm sure you can tell. Next slide, please. I think this slide takes a while to load. Oh, that was a quick one. This is the house taking shape. This was all followed with a digital app, which was produced by one of our undergraduate students in Max here, where you scanned a QR code on the piece of timber as it came out of a container. You could literally do that while it was hanging off the crane, and that would show you in 3 dimensions exactly where you had to go and put it. And that was how we put this together. Next slide, please. And here we have the sorry, I'm missing one slide there. The finished project, which Richard has visited as well, a number of our Dubai provosts went to, and most importantly, a number of visitors, including local schools in Dubai. So I'm putting up this slide here. You can see the QR codes there on the piece of timber, as well as the, if the QR codes don't work, emergencies of having something written on in felt tip. What made me particularly proud of the students here was that they were sharing every moment of this across social media platforms, formally through engagements with schools, through engagements with a partner, Design Engineer Construct, one of our honorary graduates works on. And here, really extraordinarily, they produced the whole thing in Minecraft as well, which in the middle of the pandemic was an immensely effective tool for engaging primary and secondary school children to work with this. There were Easter eggs within this house. As you opened doors into the plant room or knocked through walls, you learned a little bit about what this was made of, and it was part of almost a kind of escape room experience. So this is learning not just for our students, it's also learning from me, I guess, but where I'm going here is the outreach, the opportunity of learning that we are offering through our particular situation as being a global university with these wonderful industry links and these opportunities to provide this hands-on work on campus. It's just extraordinary. And the beginning of that was begat by some support from the Watt Club. So thank you. Thank you very, very much. Next slide, please. This level of outreach and understanding of that from our students is perhaps not surprising, because right from their first years with us, we are building in science communication. And this is a number of our first year students, including graduate apprentices, providing a science fair for local schools, 250 8 to 10-year-olds coming in and learning about some of the exciting research that Heriot-Watt is doing and where we might be in a sustainable future. Next slide, please. So this is built into our curriculum, this level of engagement, and you can see in the top middle there, cutting edge PhD student talking about robotics to these children, and then our first year undergraduates learning about that effective science communication as well. So making it real, not just for us, but also for everybody engaged in the university. The second thing, next slide please, that I'd like to pick up on. This is a current project, so I'm going to spend a little less long talking about it because it's a work in progress, but I hope that it will be a really exciting one to share with you. And there's an opportunity for you to be a little interactive here. A link will be posted into the chat very shortly, which will allow you to live what I'm about to show you. Next slide, please. This is a project from the university. I am working directly with some local schools across Mid Lothian who are starting a global infrastructure and built environment qualification, which we hope will be a feeder for our built environment projects here in the UK. Next slide, please. And what we're doing is asking these students to work in a digital way to explore, because it's an asset that we have, our campus, and teaching them, allowing them to learn about the built environment through this digital engagement with our campus. We ran a test, partly funded by the EPSRC and a student internship in summer, of taking some existing aerial photographs that we had and uploading them to this rather wonderful Bentley software, which allowed us to create a kind of three-dimensional model which we could move around. And the pupils from the schools have started to populate this with a little bit more information. Next slide, please. Realizing we were onto something here, we sent up a pretty effective drone to run over our campus in wonderful detail. The pupils were engaged in organising this and sorting out the risk assessments as well. So again, some wonderful learning in this. And what we now have is a rather nifty three-dimensional model of our campus, which anyone, yourselves included, through the link, which hopefully is about to be posted in the chat, please do so now, is able to explore. And the opportunities for this are somewhat endless. We are looking at allowing people to explore the campus before open days, highlighting areas which might be noisy or wet, where lifts are, where stairs are, allowing people who perhaps are a little bit more nervous for whatever reason about visiting the campus to explore it in advance and to be very aware of where they need to be and what they're going to be doing. So this is a kind of inclusivity tool as well. Next slide, please. We don't just work in digital, we still, of course, work in physical. And so the students who have surveyed this using a drone are also working in a more traditional way to get their hands-on learning. This is one of our PhD students who actually lives on campus in the chaplaincy here, working again with these 16-year-olds. And the mutual learning here is really great as well. Next slide, please. One of these 16-year-olds is presenting her version of the three-dimensional fly-through we're calling it now a digital twin for reasons I'll come to, of the campus. And she's presenting that back to our PhD students, to her other colleagues in her class, and to some of our academics to show them what's going on. And that's in our grid building in the Innovation Suite, and a really big moment for that 16-year-old. Next slide, please. Shifting to our Dubai campus for just a moment. As you're aware, it's a rather different campus in that it's essentially a single building and now newly adjacent as well. This campus model is about energy, and we are now going to be working on doing the one on the other and swapping. We will start to produce an energy model of the Edinburgh campus. We have begun this already, and we will start to have a kind of interactive walkthrough model of the Dubai campus using the other software. So this is also useful for research. This is giving us real-time data. Next slide, please, which is allowing us not only to drive sustainability ourselves in our use and our campus, but also allowing us to do a huge amount of research, to collect data here, to embed that into our courses, to give students something real to work with. So it's really, really exciting. Next slide, please. It's not only about the built environment and about energy. This is some work from one of our students, looking at biodiversity on our Edinburgh campus. Those of you who are alumni from here will know that we have amazing assets, the Bluebell Woods, some really amazing flora and fauna on campus. And here she's looking at the impacts of flooding and possible examples of what we can do to increase biodiversity and decrease flooding risk. So all of this is linking together rather nicely. I think if there is time, I think actually I'll just continue and wrap up in case there are questions, if that's all right. And if there's time at the end, I can give you a bit of a walkthrough of some of the things I've just shown you. So moving straight to the next slide, please. To me, this is all making a difference. And just to sum up then, next slide. I find myself incredibly fortunately to be here at Heriot-Watt, able to do the things that I've just shown you uniquely because of our situation, because of our links across campuses globally, because of our connections with industry, the wonderful opportunities that our campuses afford us for what I have just shown you, for enriching our learning, for making it real for students. I'm passionate about linking our education and our research. I'm passionate about the outreach opportunities there as well, the learning not just for our students, but beyond the envelope of our institution. Working globally, of course, and understanding the impact of that. And it's the process as much as the product here, which is utterly transformative. It's an absolute pleasure to work with these students and to work with the wider industry partners and to see the fruition of that as we move on. So a massive thank you from me to the Watt Club for your support of this sort of thing. I think it's extraordinary. I'm very excited to be part of the Shaping Futures campaign, driving sustainability, empowering through education. It's a wonderful place to be right now. Thank you for your support.
Perfect. Thank you very much for your presentation, Professor MacLaren. I think everyone will agree that it's pretty incredible to see such an exciting approach to not just learning and teaching, but that academic community building and students and staff working together to shape solutions to what are real world problems. So now I'd like to invite anyone that's on the call, if they'd like to ask any questions of either Professor Williams or Professor MacLaren. I'll kind of give you a starter for 10, one for Professor MacLaren. Alex, what do you think is the biggest lesson, either academic or non-academic, that the students in Team Esteem have learnt from the experience?
I think it's multidisciplinarity. I think it's about stepping outside of the silos of the topic that they've been asked to study. There was a real realization that the engineers couldn't do the social media and didn't understand how to organize a team. And when we brought HR and business people in from SOS, that was transformative. And they saw that and they realized that, similarly, they're building something and they go, we need an app for that. And someone from computer science says, oh, well, that's interesting. Actually, I've got a course where I could do an app for that. Great, this links up. And I found that a transformative realization in my earlier career as well. And I'm really excited that we're managing to bring that to undergraduate students. I think that's really good for, dare I say, the future of our world, that we're teaching people to think beyond silos and work together.
And what's the biggest thing that you and your team learnt as staff?
Oh, I'm learning a lot. It is extraordinarily difficult to allow things like this to happen. The big question is often how much do I direct and how much of a safety net do you put out and how much do you allow the students to find their own way through this? I think that's an eternal question of education, isn't it? You know, how much do you scaffold and support and how much do you ask the students to work themselves? I mean, I think, you know, there's a lot of pragmatic things which we as a university we're pretty agile, actually. I'm able to do things here that I couldn't do at a larger institution because we have the leadership that says this is important, let's go, and we can make that happen. But making that business as usual, which of course is something I'd like to do, is still a work in progress.
I think you're right. I think that, especially in pedagogy, is the drip feed or spoon feed has always been a question, and I think that this project just shows that interdisciplinarity and that kind of global aspect that you mentioned, that students from 4 different campuses had been part of Team Esteem. I think it's an incredible kind of achievement that hopefully is best practice that can be taken across the university and kind of used more widely. We haven't got any questions in the chat as of yet. You mentioned potentially showing us a demonstration.
I was going to say,
I'm open to a demonstration, absolutely.
I just for a couple of minutes, I'm going to, classic, we're all used to this. I'm going to do a share, and Kieran, you can tell me if this is working or not. Is that visible?
I can see your screen there. Yeah.
Excellent, thank you. So this, I've just popped a link into the chat. I think Gail may have already done so. So please do follow that. You can follow this on your browser. Here are our 16-year-old students. But you know, you might find this a wonderful trip down memory lane. Here is our Edinburgh campus. Let's go and look at the wonderful new Orion building and the sports campuses there. If you can't quite remember the names of all of the different parts that we're going to, then you can click on these labels and remember the different buildings that you will have studied in at some point as well. If we wander over to the grid building here, again, another new building on campus, one that people may not be so familiar with. We've actually got the opportunity here to look at an example of standing on the roof here. You can understand a little bit more about our pretty state-of-the-art solar systems and the way that this links through to our air handling units and systems. And this is a really great training exercise for many of our students. If you're really so inclined, you can enter the plant room with me and have a look around that as well. But I would encourage people, excuse me, let's just escape from that, to play with this, to investigate it. It is absolutely possible to really get down into campus, to walk around and say, oh yes, I remember this. I remember walking through these woods. I remember understanding the campus in this way. It's a wonderful asset, and you might find it an exciting trip down memory lane to also see which parts of the university are the same and which parts have been updated. For example, here you can come and have a little bit of a closer look at the Robotarium building if you so wish. So do play. We'd be delighted for any feedback that you have.
Perfect, thank you very much. I definitely will be having a play, as if I don't spend enough time on campus, but I will still have a play around. There doesn't seem to be any other questions coming through for you, so I think both yourself and Professor Williams are off the hook. Feel free to stay in the meeting if you want to, or feel free to drop off. If any questions do come through, we'll forward them on to you and we can get the answers circulated. Do you want?
Thank you very much, Kieran. Thank you for all of your work as well. Thank you.
You're very welcome, Richard.
Thank you. Cheers.
Professor MacLaren, if anyone does want to get in touch with you, what's the best way to do so?
You would find me from a quick Google search. Other search engines are, of course, available very clearly, but my email is alex.maclaren@hw.ac.uk. Absolutely delighted to hear from alumni. If you've got ideas about how we could integrate stuff, then I absolutely want to hear from you. So thank you very much.
Perfect. Thank you very much to both of you. So now we move on to what is the business end of the meeting as we step through a look back at 2024 for the Watt Club, and we work through the work of Watt Club Council. And Sharon, next slide, please. So the first action we need to take as part of this meeting is the endorsement of the minutes from last year's AGM. These minutes were circulated with your invite for today's meeting, which are taken from the recording of the meeting, which you can actually find on our YouTube channel. Rather than asking you all to vote on whether or not you're happy with the minutes, that they're true and accurate, during the meeting. Could I ask anyone that wishes to flag any issues with the minutes during the next few minutes in the Q&A box? If we receive no kind of indication of any issues, we will take this as an endorsement, just to save sending out forms and voting links. So next slide, please. So now for our look back at 2024. Hopefully, as you all know, the Watt Club is Heriot-Watt University's Alumni Association. We represent and support over 166,000 alumni around the world. The club is led by a council made up of elected and appointed alumni who have a width and breadth of industry knowledge and experience, but who are all tied back from that shared experience of being a Heriot-Watt student. Those of you who attended last year, who have been keeping up to date with us via whether it's the e-magazine or our social media, will know that at the start of 2024, we underwent some pretty big constitutional changes, which gave the makeup of the council a much needed refresh. So for the first time, the chairs of each of our branches around the globe now have a seat at the table and actually a direct route into the workings of not just the club, but the university. Our branches are groups of alumni brought together by volunteers for the purpose of celebrating Heriot-Watt and its founders, improving social connectivity and sharing industrial knowledge, practice and contacts. But I'll come on to them in a wee while. You may have also noticed that over the last few months, our comms have looked a little bit different. We've worked closely with the university's marketing team to align our brand with theirs, while also trying to retain some of our own look and feel. So I mentioned the Watt Club Council slightly earlier on, and as Professor Williams mentioned earlier this afternoon, in February 2024, we unfortunately lost someone who had been vital in shaping the council and the wider Watt Club and university communities. Cameron Miller was a third-generation alumni following in the footsteps of both his father and his grandfather, graduating with a degree in economics in 1989. After an incredibly impressive career in the world of banking, Cameron joined the Watt Club Council in 2017, ready to give back to our very special community. You could tell in everything he did that Heriot-Watt meant so much to him, and he then went on to become the deputy chair of the University Court, the university's highest decision-making board, and at the time, effort and care he put into every role he held in the university was absolutely incredible. Cameron had very much been a mentor, not just to me in my time as student president, but those who succeeded me, and to my predecessor in this role, Mike Ross and his Watt Club Council team. Cameron did sadly pass away after an incredibly valiant fight with ALK-positive leukemia in February, but in late 2023, myself and the Secretary of the University, Ruth Moyer, had the pleasure of bestowing a brand new award, the Watt Club Award for Outstanding Contribution, on Cameron, something he was incredibly proud of, and something we're hoping to bestow on other alumni in his name and honour. And if anyone does wish to do so, and I implore you to do so, read more about Cameron's story and his incredible work for not just the university, but all the other incredible charities he supported. You can do so in the most recent edition of the Watt Club magazine online. Cameron will always be sorely missed, and we will continue to build on his legacies in his honour. And now, across the past year, Council have had 4 strategic working groups working simultaneously to get us future ready, in line with those constitutional changes we made last year. So we've been focused on governance and reviewing our bylaws to ensure that all of the documents underpinning this new constitution and how we operate really sing from the same hymn sheet. Understanding where we have knowledge and experiences gaps on council and updating our appointments process so that as we step into this new world of the Watt Club, we know that we can have the best minds guiding us through. We've also focused on working with our student union, council, association in the UK, Dubai and Malaysia to understand how the Watt Club can better support the current student experience, understanding that today's students are tomorrow's members of our club. We've also been looking at how alumni can give back through connections with student-led societies and sports clubs, running workshops or extracurricular talks, and building on the already well-established mentorship programs run by the university's careers team. We're extremely keen to start developing more and more volunteering opportunities for alumni that extend beyond just committee meetings and external engagement, and that will be one of our focuses stepping forward into 2025. And the 4th strategic working group for this year was looking at the guidance we give to our branches or those wishing to establish branches and all of the wraparound support that we offer them. We've made funding application processes easier. We're working on supporting electronic and physical stationery for branches and setting up Heriot-Watt email addresses for them to establish them as real members of our community. Next slide, please. Now on to a bit more about those branches that I've talked about so much. We currently have 15 affiliated branches around the world, all led by incredible volunteers, as well as 4 new branches or smaller groups in the process of being established. This year has been an incredible one for branch activity, especially for our branches in Houston, South Africa, Toronto, and London, who'd all struggled for a number of years to grow and build momentum. All 4 in 2024 hosted events funded by the council, and all have been a great success. In October, Toronto had their first social meetup with over 20 alumni attending, and they're now planning 2 events for 2025. The South Africa branch were recently visited by Professor Williams for their first steering group meeting in Cape Town, and now have got plans, a full kind of plan of activity in place for 2025. And it really is amazing to see how much time and effort our volunteer chairs and their committees are putting into organising events to bring together alumni in their local areas. Our Norway branch has continued to build on its high-flying connections, hosting events with both the British Norwegian Chamber of Commerce and the British Embassy, including a homecoming event for recent graduates and an attendance at the King's birthday celebrations. And in Malaysia, the branch has been incredibly hard at work strengthening connections with the campus and its students, helping to support the 10th year of the Heriot-Watt University Students Association at HUMSA and hosting fringe events around our Malaysia student graduations. And I'd like to offer my thanks publicly to all of the chairs, their committees, volunteers and members for everything that they do to help build, grow and support our global community. Next slide, please. Now for the fun stuff, a look back at the financials for the council over 2024. So our financial year runs from September to September. So this is a look at how the council spent its money between September 2023 and September 2024. So the Watt Club Council receives a subvention grant of £15,000 each year from the university, and that's to use towards council and branch operations and projects. And over the past few years, especially since COVID, council has struggled to spend all of this, but this year with branches now on board on council, we've used the money to do some incredibly impactful work. You'll see in the original budget, there was a budget there for personnel. This was actually carryover from before the constitutional changes, where we had a treasurer and or secretary and they'd receive a stipend of £2,000 for the huge amount of time and work that those roles would take. But I'd like to send a huge thanks on behalf of council to Gail Smith from the development and alumni team, who now extremely graciously and always with a huge smile on her face or gritted teeth is now picking up the majority of this work as part of her role in the wider DEO team. So thank you very much, Gail, for your support in that. And this has meant freeing up even more funding to be used on branch and alumni activity. This year, we've given almost £6.4 thousand in funding out to branches, funding events like the ones I mentioned earlier, but also funding things like setup and legal costs for newly established branches. Near the end of the year, with a significant underspend kind of pictured, we were able to support a huge alumni event being hosted by the Development and Alumni Office, which is what you can see in that hospitality row there. The marketing costs you see there were to help support an event being run on the fringes of graduation by our Malaysia branch. And we also spent close to £900 purchasing a stock of trophies, which we hope to use for our inaugural Alumni Awards, which we hope to launch later this year. I'm now going to hand over to Adam Gillies, the Alumni Engagement Manager, to give his reflections on the year. And after Adam and Axel after him, we'll take any questions on all of our presentations at once at the end. So over to you, Adam.
Thank you very much, Kieran, and hello, everyone. As Kieran mentioned, I'm the Alumni Engagement Manager for Heriot-Watt University, and it's my job and my privilege really to lead the team that works with our Watt Club members, all of you, all around the world. And our job, in the simplest terms, is really to support you with your different endeavours after you leave the university, but also to engage you in the life and work of the university, to support Heriot-Watt's strategic goals and priorities, and importantly, to support our current students. We now have, as was mentioned earlier, over 166,000 alumni in over 190 countries. So we've got a truly global presence. And this is a flourishing community that's made up of individuals like yourselves doing amazing things in their places of work, in their communities and in their countries, but all with one thing in common: they all studied at Heriot-Watt. The Development and Alumni Office are deeply committed to the support of our global alumni community and to serving each of you in the best way that we possibly can. and at different stages throughout your career and throughout your life. And we endeavour to offer a tailored service to different groups of our alumni community, offering benefits, services, events, communications, and other ways to engage, depending on your age, your career stage, and your location. The highlight reel at the very beginning of this session gives you a bit of a flavour of some of the activity and particularly the events that the alumni team has delivered in 2024. And these are engagement opportunities for our Watt Club members, but also for students. And they're delivered in conjunction with the university leadership, with academics, with schools, and with professional services teams across the university to offer a broad range of opportunities. And in 2024, I'm proud to say that the alumni team hosted or supported 33 events, and we had over 1,300 event attendees. So over 1,300 alumni attended our events 2024. We also sent out 245 tailored email campaigns to relevant alumni groups across the year, and this amounts to nearly 1 million individual emails. And across our social media channels, we increased the number of followers to nearly 49,000, and we posted 982 times on those channels, and we received over 25,000 engagements. Those are comments, likes, and shares. So thank you all for your attendance at our events, for opening our emails, for engaging with us on social media, for meeting with us in person, and we hope to continue that engagement and grow that engagement into 2025. We've shared some highlights already of 2024, but I would share just a couple of highlights from my perspective as well. And in no particular order, we launched the Watt Club Uganda last year, and we were honoured to have alumnus and Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, the Honourable Henry Muzazi, provide a keynote speech at that launch on empowering people through access to education. We were honoured to have him there and learned a lot from his talk. We're also delighted now to have a network in Uganda made up of many alumni, including from the business school and our MBA programme, and we're looking forward to doing great things with that group in Uganda and beyond in the future. In October, as Richard mentioned earlier, we launched our Shaping Futures campaign, and we invited our alumni to help us promote, share, connect, and contribute to the success of this campaign. The campaign really is a call to our global community to actively participate in a university's mission to shape the future and to build on our distinct strengths at Heriot-Watt and our areas of expertise. And those are across 4 areas that we've decided to concentrate on. These are empowering through education, driving global sustainability, transforming healthcare technologies, and innovating with business and technology, business and industry, excuse me. I encourage you to have a look at our webpage, the Shaping Futures webpage, which has been shared earlier, and to get in contact with the team if you have any questions about any of these themes or the activities that have been going on underneath team headers. We were thrilled last year that philanthropist and long-time advocate of higher education, Ian Campbell, was awarded with an honorary degree from Heriot-Watt University. Ian is a very proud alumnus of Heriot-Watt University. He left the university here with a first-class honours degree in chemical engineering. And last year we recognised him with the title of Doctor of the University for his outstanding services to Heriot-Watt and in his efforts, particularly in widening participation. He's been a big supporter of the Maths Gym, which is also which is an initiative, to help support students upskill in their in maths and to give extra support for those needing that help. And as a recognition of that particular project, the Maths Gym was also renamed the Campbell's Maths Gym. So it was great to see the contribution by that one particular alumnus being recognised in this way. Many thanks to you, Ian, and your continued support. We, as an alumni team and a development alumni office, have been working very hard with the careers team as well to endeavour to increase the participation rate with our most recent alumni in the Graduate Outcomes Survey. And as Richard mentioned at the beginning of this session, the rankings that have come out of those surveys are fantastic. We've reached first in Scotland for employability and second in the UK for undergraduate courses. And it's brilliant to see that our Heriot-Watt graduates are securing the high-skilled positions that they desire after they're leaving university, as well as meeting the needs of current employers. We'll continue to work with the rest of the university and our careers team to support our most recent graduates in their endeavours after leaving Heriot-Watt. In November, just last year, we published our most recent edition of the Watt, which is our alumni magazine. We hope you've seen it and had a look at it, but if you've not seen it, please do open it up. It's a digital magazine, and it shares the amazing and impactful stories of our alumni around the world. Please do take a look at those inspirational stories. You'll find more in that magazine, not only about the impact our alumni have, but the impact that our research is having in real ways across the world in some of the key areas that we've talked about earlier on today. Sustainability, medical technology are just a few examples. And lastly, but not least, in 2024, we welcomed over 6,900 new graduates to the Watt Club, new graduates of Heriot-Watt University. And those graduates have graduated through one of our 5 campuses globally via Heriot-Watt Online and through our approved learning partners around the world. We are always open to feedback here at the alumni team, and we want to enhance and continually develop our offering that we offer our alumni. You can contact us at any time. Our email address will be shared in the comments, but please also look out for more formal ways of providing that feedback through alumni surveys and the like. The more you can give us about what your needs and wants are, the better informed we are to provide a programme that is serving your needs. As well as offering benefits and services, of course, we offer opportunities for you to give back to Heriot-Watt too in terms of volunteering. And I must say that we're very grateful to all of our volunteers around the world who dedicate their time so generously to support our current students and the key strategic needs of the university. You really do make a difference. This could be through many different ways, but to highlight just a few, it could be through student mentoring, speaking at an alumni event, guest lecturing for students, sitting on an advisory board or indeed on university court, making connections to business and industry, or even sharing your success stories to help support the university's reputation and also to attract and inspire new students to study at Heriot-Watt University. So if you'd like to get involved more, we'd encourage you to connect with the team, and please do keep your eyes open for opportunities to volunteer throughout 2025. It's a great opportunity for me to recognise some volunteers just now who have been mentioned earlier, but I'd like to say many thanks from the alumni team to our Watt Club Council and our Watt Club branches, the individuals who lead and run the council and the branches around the world put in many hours of volunteering time, and we really appreciate you facilitating networks and communities around the world who are ready and willing to support the university in different ways, and we embrace the opportunities to support you in the locations in which you are based. As mentioned, through the example of Ian Campbell there, we know that many of our alumni are also donors to the university and supporting projects and students directly through your kind generosity and really helping the university to amplify the impact that we have. And I just want to take a second here to thank all of our alumni who are donors too. And what I was really excited about earlier was seeing the case studies that Alex was sharing, demonstrating the opportunities that students at Heriot-Watt have here. And what is really heartwarming is seeing students who wouldn't ordinarily have the opportunity to attend Heriot-Watt have that opportunity through alumni support and to take part in some of these projects which are having real-world impacts, such as using solar technology to power the house in Dubai that we saw. Throughout 2025, we will be excited to deliver our programme events in person and online, and I'd encourage you to keep an eye out for upcoming news of those opportunities to engage. Just to have a quick look at January, I want to highlight a couple of things coming up. We have Global Watt Day on the 19th of January. This is an opportunity that affords our alumni community around the world to celebrate James Watt's birthday. And on James Watt's birthday, 19th of January, we encourage our alumni to take a small action to help promote the university and our community. As Richard mentioned earlier, we have a brand new podcast coming out of Harriet Watt, the Shaping the Future of podcast. You heard it here first. No one else has heard about this yet, so you've had a link in the comments. Please do have a listen of that. And when the communications come out on our social media channels and through our email, please do listen, subscribe, and share that podcast and help us spread the great word of the things that are the research and the impact that Harriet Watt's having across the world. We have events coming up in Saudi Arabia. We have a Watt Club branch event in London. We have a Brewing and Distilling Watt Club reunion event happening in Edinburgh, and a special alumni guest lecture happening in Edinburgh this month. So please do take a look at our events page and sign up to any events which take your fancy. And we will be visiting countries such as USA and India later in the year. So please keep your eyes peeled for events in your area and online. Lastly, our winter newsletter will be coming up soon. Please do make sure that you're subscribed to that to receive our latest news and updates. And I'll leave you with this last message. Please do get involved in 2025. We would love you to play your part. And if we can do anything to provide any more information, please do get in touch. The alumni team is here to help. Thank you. And back to you, Kieran.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Adam, for your insights and your reflections. I'm now going to hand over to the Vice President of the Watt Club, Axel Klafstad, to give us a look forward to 2025.
Thanks, Kieran. I assume that the sound is working fine, or you will let me know if it's not.
It is, yes.
Thank you. Firstly, let me say it's a real pleasure to be part of this AGM following the recent appointment as Vice President of the Watt Club Council. I'm joining from Norway, my home country. I graduated from Harriet Watt in 2011 with a degree in business and finance. I studied the entire degree at the Edinburgh campus, and I have to say I really enjoyed my time there. I have been an active alumnus since I graduated, more than a decade, and I've been involved in setting up the branch of the Watt Club in Norway, which I'm currently chairing. At the same time as I am trying to juggle the vice presidency of the council. So a lot of volunteering going on. Continuing to be engaged with the university acknowledges how important that experience has been in my life. And it provides a way for me to continue to build links, not only between Scotland and Norway, but also between the university and Norway, and to keep the legacy of the university alive in myself. And today we are building links throughout the world through the alumni. I strongly believe in the importance of relationship building, so I really enjoy events like this where we can connect online or in person with fellow alumni and the wider Harriet Watt family, wherever we are located. Having lived abroad in both the US and the Middle East, I have really enjoyed the alumni network at multiple locations and firsthand seen how important it is and how vital it can be for people when they are traveling around the world. Kieran has already celebrated some of our key successes and collaborations over the last year. A lot of great work has been achieved to reconfigure the Watt Club Council and to integrate the branches. And this process has helped us remind us of our purpose as a council to enthuse and engage with the university's global community of former students, current students, friends, staff, and other potential supporters in order to cultivate mutually beneficial, lifelong, and relevant relationships. Specifically, to achieve our mission, the club shall continue to A, encourage and enlist support for the university, B, enhance the student experience, C, recognize academic and other achievements through the award of the Watt Club medals and other prizes, and D, to honor the memory of James Watt and founders of Harriet Watt University and its legacy institutions. So looking to the future, we are committed to mobilizing our alumni community to deliver this mission while ensuring our alumni have a voice and have the opportunity to input into the development of our university's upcoming 2035 strategy. As was mentioned, your first chance to get involved is the Global Watt Day on the 19th of January, which is James Watt's birthday. This is a chance to galvanize our alumni community and celebrate the positive impact our university and our alumni are making today. Please keep your eyes peeled on our social media channels for how you can play your part in promoting how Heard is shaping the future. Together with the Development and Alumni Office, we will be delivering a program of global events, tailored communications, and activities throughout 2025, offering you and our wider community with updates and opportunities to collaborate and support. A key focus this year will be our Shaping Futures campaign, the university's first comprehensive campaign aimed at raising community awareness and financial support for student access and enrichment initiatives and excellence in research. We believe that our alumni play a vital role in raising awareness and supporting this campaign. We invite you all to join us as we step forward together to make education more inclusive, mitigate climate change, advance healthcare, and help to transform business and industry. This will enable future generations to benefit from a safer, healthier, and more sustainable world. You can find out more via the link that will be shared in the chat. And finally, thank you again for attending today, as I ask you to please stay connected with your Heard family. You can use the LinkedIn page at the Watt Club to stay in touch and keep up to date on all the latest news and upcoming events, and make sure you update your details. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Axel, and Adam, and Professor Williams and Professor MacLaren for all of the presentations today. And hopefully we've given everyone at home a positive reflection of 2024, and again that positive outlook looking into 2025. I could see no other questions in the chat box there, so I am going to move to the big finish. So thank you very much everyone for attending. This is probably the highest attended AGM that I've been part of in my my time on Watt Club Council. So thank you very much for taking the time out of your day to get involved. We've had no comments back on the minutes from the last AGM, so we will take those as a true and accurate representation. They'll go into the history books. So I'd like to just thank you all for taking part, and a reminder that we do have Global Watt Day on the 19th, which is a celebration of James Watt's birthday, where we do ask you to take a photo of you raising a glass, and we'll pop in some information into the chat about the social media hashtags. So we run a social media campaign on Monday the 20th, so there'll be more on there about that. Thank you very much everyone, and we look forward to engaging with you over the next year, and we'll see you again for the annual general meeting 2025. Thank you very much.